Hey, what's going on, you variety loving people? I hope you're ready to add some spice to your day. And I also hope you have your jerseys on, your beer in the refrigerator, because today we'll be talking about sports. A lot of the seasons for this year are starting to kick off. We have football, NBA, college basketball, MLB's we're starting to wrap up. NHL is starting kind of soon. I'm not really sure when that
Yeah,
starts.
like next month.
Next month, yeah. So we got a lot going on, and we're just gonna talk about some of our predictions about various things, whether teams are making playoffs, MVPs, some surprise teams, and stuff like that. So to kick it off, we're gonna start with the NBA. Any predictions for that, like playoffs? Who do you think's gonna get in?
Mm. Well, the big thing that everyone wants to talk about is LeBron. So I guess we'll start with that. Whether or not the Lakers go to the promised land with LeBron, I guess you could say. I mean, in my opinion, I do think the Lakers are going to make the playoffs. LeBron could probably just will them himself into the postseason, but I don't think that they will go like as far as everybody thinks in this first year. I think it's going to take some time for them to really get going, because you could see when LeBron was with the Heat, when him, Wade, and Bosh all went down to Miami, that it didn't work out for them right away. It took them a few years to really get things going and get them in the direction that they wanted to go. But I feel like maybe the Lakers finished fifth or sixth in the Western Conference in the regular season, and they could go to the conference final maybe, but I don't see them going back to the NBA finals this year, or LeBron going back to the NBA finals this year. But yeah, I think that's how the Lakers are gonna go.
You said that they're gonna finish fifth or sixth. Who do you think's gonna finish ahead of them, though?
One sec. I was looking at the standings from last year, but in the West, obviously Houston and Golden State are definitely gonna finish ahead of them. I could see Oklahoma City finishing third or fourth. Utah's pretty good. Even Portland's good. There's five teams right there that almost won 50 games last year. Every team in the Western Conference won at least, or that made the playoffs, won at least 47 games last year. And the Lakers were predicted. There was a thing that came out on Bleacher Report like today or yesterday that showed the Lakers predicted to go 46-36, and that wouldn't even make them, or wouldn't even have got them in the playoffs last year. That would have finished them tied for ninth place with Denver. So I mean, I feel like they'll probably win like 48 or 49 games for sure. But I think fifth or sixth is a solid spot in the Western Conference for them, because Houston, Golden State, I mean Oklahoma City has Carmelo, and if Carmelo turns, or no, wait, oh, he went to Houston. What am I thinking? Yeah, I'm thinking that wrong. But he was with OKC last year, and that didn't work out well. But yeah, but I mean, like Oklahoma City still has Paul George and Russell Westbrook, and Utah, obviously Donovan Mitchell had a heck of a year last year, and they have a lot of good younger players in Utah. New Orleans even went 48-34 last year. I didn't think they were that good, but and then San Antonio is always in the playoffs, 47-35. Minnesota went 47-35. They have a good team too, with Jimmy Butler and Karl Anthony Towns on that team. So I mean, there's just so many good teams in the Western Conference. I mean, the East is obviously a different story, but like the five teams in front of them, I mean, I could easily see five teams. Maybe the Lakers finish fourth, and Houston, Golden State, and maybe Oklahoma City or Utah finishes in front of them. But I'm gonna say fifth. I'm gonna say fifth. They're finishing.
I mean, I kind of disagree with that. I think that since Melo went to Houston, Houston's gonna have the same problem that OKC did, finding a spot for Melo on their team, because he's always been like that guy for like the teams that he's played for in the past. Except when he came to Oklahoma City, they already had Westbrook and Paul George, and he's used to holding the ball a lot himself and taking those like isolation plays. But they already have Harden for that. So I feel like Melo doesn't have a place at Houston either. I feel like Melo really doesn't have a place in the league anymore, to be completely honest. But I feel like him being on that team is definitely going to cause a little bit of controversy. Maybe not between the players, but just kind of team chemistry, because he is new there and he is kind of on his way out, as I feel, at least in the league. So I feel like Houston could slide past the Lakers, but I really doubt it. I feel like the Lakers are probably going to finish second, but I don't believe that they're going to go to the championship this year. I feel like they're not established enough as a team, but I feel like LeBron is going to try to build his team up a lot quicker than he did in Miami just because of the fact that he doesn't have that much left in his NBA career, in my opinion. He probably has like 3 good years at most.
Wait, do you think they're gonna make it to the conference final though?
Yeah, I think they'll make it to the
Against the
conference.
Warriors.
Yeah, against the Warriors. Yeah, it'll be Lakers Warriors for sure. But I think OKC's definitely gonna have a better year than they did last year. I think they'll finish third, honestly, and I don't think Portland will even be top five. Utah might slide into
I
that
think that
fourth
was a
spot.
fluke. I think that was a fluke that Portland and like New Orleans won that many games. Like I could see I couldn't even see San Antonio winning 47 games this year, to be honest. I mean, they have Demar Derozan now, but they traded away Kawhi Leonard. Like I think it'd be tough for San Antonio to win 47 this year. Minnesota won. I mean, I think Minnesota could maybe win 47 again or more, but Denver won 46 and they finished in ninth place in the conference, just one spot out of the playoffs. I don't know. I still feel like Golden State and Houston are gonna finish first and second for sure, and I feel like OKC probably might slip into that third spot. Portland's always like around somewhere, with Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum, and that's good supporting cast that they have there. But I don't know. I still can't see the Lakers going even to maybe the conference final at most, but I definitely can't see them going to the NBA Finals. Uh, Maybe we should move over to the Eastern Conference now, but I mean, there's not much to talk about in the East, to be honest. Um, Top three teams will probably be about the same as they always are, or have been for the last few years, besides the Cavs moving out because LeBron's not there anymore. So I mean, like, the Cavs might still be able to make the playoffs in the East, though, to be honest, because there's, like, not that much firepower in the East compared to the West. So, I mean, obviously, I think Boston's going to finish first place in the regular season. Maybe the Sixers probably second. Toronto's always going to be there, around third or fourth, even though they traded DeMar DeRozan. They got Kawhi Leonard back, even though he might not be that invested in that team because he was pretty pissed off, I guess, that the Spurs traded him there. But I still think they'll finish third or fourth. The Pacers will always be right around there because they have the pretty good role-playing team. The Heat finished with 44 wins last year, made the playoffs. Milwaukee's always going to be there with the Greek Freak and the players they have. The Wizards. So, I mean, I think maybe my 8 for the playoffs in the East probably be Boston, Philly, Toronto, Indiana, Milwaukee, Washington, Detroit. I'm going to throw in there this year. And I guess I'll give the Heat another shot. Maybe they finish 8th or something, because it's really a toss-up once you get to those, like, 6, 7, 8 spots in the East.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll say the Heat maybe get in with that 8.
Yeah, wait, did you mention Cleveland in that? I may have missed it.
No, I said they're not going to make it.
Yeah, I say they go 500 at best, but even in the East,
you never know. Like, 500 in the East might make the playoffs.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, but
yeah.
I still say they don't make the playoffs. But I definitely say Toronto, Boston, and Philly get in for sure. I say the Pacers do because Oladipo has like a pretty decent supporting cast around him, and definitely the Heat, and yeah, the Bucks of course. And I'd say John Wall definitely gets the Wizards to the playoffs. I couldn't see them missing the playoffs. And I'm gonna say the Knicks slide in this year for sure in that 8th spot probably. That because Porzingis is gonna be healthy I think the entire year, so I'd say they slide in for sure if he's healthy. But now to switch it up, who do you? Oh yeah, but to talk about something else. How you mentioned earlier, I remember we were talking. How you mentioned Jayson Tatum is like one of the most overrated players in the NBA.
The report dropped their top 5. Most overrated players in the NBA right now. One sec. Talk a little bit about that because I'm trying to find this list.
Yeah, Jordan was explaining to me earlier how they mentioned that Jayson Tatum's the number one overrated player in the East, or no, in NBA in general. But yeah, I completely disagree with that. I feel like he's possibly underrated because he had a great year last year. Nobody really expected that from him, just coming out of Duke. And I remember I was watching the NBA playoffs. I was out in Georgia. And I remember him just throwing down on LeBron and bumping him and looked him like straight in the eye. like what's good, but like he can definitely size up with some of the best players in the NBA. Obviously, if he takes out LeBron like that, and I really think that's someone to look forward to this year for sure. Especially since what is it, only his second season? He's a rookie last year, right?
I think so.
Yeah. And then they had Kawhi Leonard on there as well as an underrated player, but I feel like he hasn't really been that much in the conversation in the NBA just because he has been injured a lot in recent years, with the last like 2 years or something like that. But
I mean, like, I could honestly see the Celtics giving the Warriors a run for their money in the finals. Though, honestly, like they have like a really good team. They finished what, second in the East last year. Went to the conference finals without their two best players.
Yeah, Hayward's gonna be healthy.
Hayward, yeah, Gordon Hayward should be healthy for at least most of the year, and Kyrie will be back. And then they have Terry Rozier played like unreal last year.
Smart.
Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, yeah, Marcus Smart. They have like so many guards and small forwards, I guess you could say.
Yeah, they have a great young team for sure.
I don't know. I mean, like I can't see anybody in the East beating them. The Sixers will obviously give them a run for it with Embiid and Ben Simmons and all those guys, but I feel like the Celtics definitely get out of the East, and the Warriors will be in the final. I hate to say it, but I think the Warriors are going to win the title again.
Oh man.
But I think the Celtics actually do give them a run for their money this year.
Yeah, I kind of honestly would have rather seen the Celtics play the Warriors last year in the finals. I think they could at least win a game instead of getting swept. But yeah, who do you think is going to go for like MVP this year? Like, do you have like a ballot in place for that?
I don't know. Going off the top of my head, I kind of think that Russell Westbrook's gonna pull something off this year. To be honest, I feel like he's the best. I want to say he's like one of the best point guards in the NBA. I don't know if he's the best, but probably at least top 2 or 3. I mean, he does it all. He scores, he rebounds, he assists, he blocks shots. He does whatever you need to do, whatever you need him to do. And I feel like he's gonna have to have a huge season for OKC to really like win a lot of games and get to where they want to get to in the playoffs. But I mean, like with just him and Paul George, and I guess you could throw Steven Adams in there, even though he's not that big time of a player. But he's a solid center, and I don't know. I just feel like Westbrook's gonna have to have a huge season, and I feel like this might be the one for him that he at least contends for the MVP.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb now, and I know a lot of people aren't gonna agree with this, but I don't think LeBron's gonna win an MVP this year. I think it's definitely going to be somebody else around like Steph Curry or like Westbrook. I do agree with the Westbrook thing. I think he's going to have a bigger season than he did last year, even though he averaged a triple-double last year too, didn't he?
I'm not sure if he did. Right.
In the playoffs, I think he did, like whenever they were still in it. But yeah, I think since they got Melo out, I feel like the team chemistry is going to come back a lot better than it was, because I feel like he was messing that up a little bit, trying to do his own thing while like they were trying to play as a team. Because I feel like Westbrook does know his role. Now that Paul George is there, he does have like that assistance. I feel like they are going to make a decent run in the playoffs, so they'll probably make it I don't think to the conference finals, but they'll definitely make it pretty far through like the first or second round.
It just depends who finishes like 1 and 2 in the West. I feel like I don't know if they'll end up playing each other in the conference final though, but it just ends up depends on how it ends up shaking out, I guess, in the end. I still feel like it's going to be Golden State and Houston. Maybe LeBron makes a push and gets the Lakers in the conference final against the Warriors, but I don't know. I still don't think anybody's strong enough in the league to beat the Warriors right now with their 5 All-Stars now with DeMarcus Cousins on their team.
Yeah, and back to the MVP race. I remember how we mentioned in one of our previous episodes about Joel Embiid saying he's going to win MVP this year. That'd be awesome to see, but I mean, I think he does have a decent shot at being like one of the bigger stars in the East now, since like LeBron's gone and everything. But I still don't think he has like the best chance, because there are still a lot of fantastic players left in the NBA that could get around just from like the Lakers and Warriors and OKC alone. Like I'd say they have like the best chance at it.
Westbrook did average a triple-double the last 2 seasons. So I think he won the MVP in 2016.
Yeah, he did.
If I'm not wrong. So that was his first triple-double averaging season. He had 31.6 points per game, 10.7 assists, and 10.4 rebounds. last year he had about the same rebounds and assist totals, 10.1, 10.2, and then his points went down to 25.4 per game. So I mean, if he could have another season like he did in 2016, like the rebounds and assists, he could stay pretty much the same in that. But if he scores a few more points a game, then I mean he could be right there in the MVP running, just like I said.
Yeah. Now to switch gears a little bit, any players you have your eye on for like this season?
I don't know. You wanna go first so I can think.
Yeah, I mentioned before Jayson Tatum. I feel like he's gonna have a pretty big year, especially in the East now that LeBron's gone. They need that new like alpha male over there. So I feel like him and Joel Embiid's probably gonna have a pretty big season as well. Even though I mentioned he probably won't win the MVP. But I also think Donovan Mitchell in the West he has something to prove now for sure, especially because LeBron is over there.
There's some rookies I guess that I'm interested in. I will honestly wait to start out before I talk about the rookies. I'm interested to see how the guys play around LeBron in LA, like how Kyle Kuzma shows up. If Lonzo can actually find his touch that he had, I guess, in college, and the touch that everybody thought he had when he first came to the Lakers. But I mean, you didn't really see much from him last year compared to what people saw him do in college and in high school and stuff. So, I mean, I'd like to see how those two guys really shape out around LeBron in LA. And going with the rookies, Luka Doncic, the guy from, I think he came from Spain, that he got drafted this year. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like that play like sometimes takes more time to translate moving from Europe over to the NBA because it's a completely like different style of basketball. Like you saw Ricky Rubio a while ago come here with all that hype and stuff, and he never ended up really being like that great. He had like a couple of good seasons, but nothing really that great. And also Trae Young, that's what I want to say. He plays for the Hawks. So I wanted to see how he started out because he started out the season with Oklahoma last year in college, like shooting the lights out, and I mean, like after a while, he kind of like tailed off as the season went on and it got into the tournament. So I want to see if he could pick up his offensive play again and really like try and maybe carry the Hawks like near the playoffs, at least in contention this year. But that's like a couple of rookies that I wanted to keep my eye on.
Yeah, I was joking like a little bit earlier about Atlanta making the playoffs, like before we got on the podcast. I actually did forget about Trae Young. That is definitely somebody I wanted to like look for because I feel like even though he didn't show up too much in the NCAA tournament, like how people expected him to for Oklahoma, but I feel like his game is more transparent to like the NBA style of play.
He's a shooter. So, I mean, like he played point guard. I guess he played point guard at Oklahoma. I mean, I'm guessing he's probably going to play point guard with Atlanta too, but I mean, he's more of a shooter than. I mean, he could set his guys up, but he's more of a shooter than a passer. I feel like he's more like a Steph Curry type player. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like I feel like if he could find his shooting touch, that he's going to be a good player in the NBA, but we'll see if that takes time or not.
Yeah, I'd like to see him do well. I saw like some practice video of him shooting. I mean, but then again, it was just practice. But he was shooting the lights out in practice, and that's something I'd like to see for sure. You want to switch gears and go to the NFL?
Yeah.
All right. What do you have for like predictions for like the conferences? Who's gonna make the playoffs? What do you think's gonna come out of this season?
Well, I mean, I don't want to say the big thing. You want to start out with your big thing that you were gonna say about Tom Brady?
Oh yeah.
That's
actually the first thing I was gonna start with was the AFC East. I think Tom Brady's reign is over. You heard it here first. Okay. He's no longer the greatest quarterback in the NFL. You might as well just put him in the Hall of Fame now, though, because we all know he's going there. But he has no more receivers. He just has Gronkowski. He has nobody else to throw to. But I think there's gonna be a surprise in the AFC East. I think the Jets are gonna have a breakout season. Yeah.
Wait, they're gonna win the division?
No, they're not gonna win the division. I think the Patriots will still win the division, but I don't think Tom Brady will have as big presence in the AFC as he did last season. I don't think they make it to the playoffs, but I say they lose in the first round that they play in.
Right. So my division winners. The Patriots are still gonna win the AFC East. Maybe one of those teams in that division finally figures it out, but I mean, the Jets would probably be the team with the best chance to figure it out because the Dolphins they kind of stink. Buffalo's up and down all the time. I mean, they made the playoffs last year, but I don't know if that's going to happen again.
They don't even have a quarterback anymore. They have what's his
No,
name?
really. I don't even know who their quarterback is. They have like 3 different quarterbacks that are competing for the job right now. Nathan Peterman's one of them. I forget who the heck the other 2 even are right now. But the Steelers, I think, are going to win the AFC North. The South, Jacksonville. The Jaguars still have, I feel like, probably one of the best defenses, 1 or 2 in the league. I say the Eagles' defense probably is the best in the league, but Jacksonville's a close second. And I feel like they're definitely going to take control of the AFC South and win it pretty easily. The West is kind of a toss-up. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Oakland wins the AFC West. They come back. They had a bad season last year, but I feel like they're going to bounce back and have at least a decent season and be able to win that division, because Kansas City has a new quarterback starting with them this year. Alex Smith left, so that Patrick Mahomes is their new starter. I think he's only a second-year kid. I don't know if he really played that much last year to begin with, so they're going to have a transition at quarterback. Denver's always up and down depending on who they have at quarterback, and we'll see how their offseason worked out for them. The Chargers have the potential to be good, but you never know with them either, because Phillip Rivers is always...
that's all we have for this. Obviously, share this with your friends if you enjoyed it, and your family as well. We are trying to spread this to as many people as we can, It's giving our 2 cents on everything. And make sure you comment below if you can, whether it's on YouTube or iTunes or Podbean or Facebook, Twitter, whatever. You guys can just comment at us, give your opinions on what we said, or your own opinions if you have differentiating ones, or if you agree with us, whatever. Make sure you download our podcast if you are listening to it on any of the hosting services. We're on iTunes, Podbean, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and a couple other things. You can check our Twitter to see all the links for that. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media. Go follow us on Instagram, Twitter. Go like our Facebook page. We just made a Snapchat today, actually. It's the same as our Twitter. It's official SOL, official secret, or SSOL, sorry. Secret Space of Life. Add us on there to get some behind-the-scenes footage. Make sure you check out our Patreon and donate to one of the tiers to enhance your viewing and listening experience. And we're going to put some bonus content on there real soon. And check out our website, because we are going to start blogging a lot more on there. We have a bunch of stuff written out already. We just got to post it. As always, have a positive and productive day.
Some shit that's considered